Hi there, welcome to this Eye of the Tiger tutorial, and Eye of the Tiger is performed by the band Survivor. Survivor are an American rock band and they did this song for the film Rocky. Rocky is about a boxer and this is a bit of a theme song while he's training for a really big fight. So it's got a lot of energy and a lot of passion in it. The main star of Rocky, the Hollywood actor Sylvester Stallone, actually asked Queen, the rock band, one of my favourite rock bands, if they could use Another One Bites the Dust, which is a different song that Queen did, which goes bom, 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 another one bites the dust, bom, 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 another one bites the dust. You might have heard that before. And you can kind of hear that there's some similarities actually with this song. Unfortunately, Queen said no, and fortunately for Survivor, they got the task of creating Eye of the Tiger, this classic song. Now, before I get into the main part of the song, there are some tiny slides in this song. So for the first line, for example, rising up, with the lyrics, with the words, rising up, actually the vocals rise up at the same time. Rising up! Most of the time with singing, we don't slide, okay? We try not to. Sliding up to things, sliding down from things, we try and avoid that. We like to hit the notes bang on. It makes for much more easy listening. However, in rock music, they use this as a stylistic choice. So you'll notice a few times in this recording that I've done, there are tiny slides up to the notes. What we don't want to do, and what I hope that you won't do, is start too low when you're sliding and miss the note. Rising up! You know, it can get really quite messy when you start messing with slides. So tiny little slides if you can. So just rising up, back on the street. So try and hit the note, but just slide up a tiny, tiny bit. Don't do rising up. There's no need for that, okay? Let's keep it nice and tight, and that stops it getting too messy. The song itself is actually quite simple and quite repetitive. The verses and the chorus, they don't change much, and that's really useful for you guys. You might hear it and hear me sing it and think that it actually sounds harder than it is. The reason for that is that boys get to a certain age when their voices break and get a bit lower, and mine is a bit lower, but the song's still quite high. So what I'm trying to do here is lift my voice up to sing at that level. If you're a young boy or a girl, it won't be such an issue. There's lots of breathing space because it's so simple. And there's a word called staccato, which means that the notes are quite short a lot of the time. They're not long notes at the end of things, which means it gives us more space to breathe. Breathing is obviously really important for singing. And so that first verse, rising up, back on the street, did my time, took my chances. There's loads of spaces to make sure you got enough breath. And so we want to be nice and relaxed, and we just want to take in as much breath in those gaps as we possibly can. What you'll notice is, because my voice is a bit lower than yours and I have to push it a little bit harder to get to those higher sections, unfortunately that means that I have a bit of a tighter sound, because this thing here, which is called your larynx, sits a little bit higher. Went the distance, now I'm back on my feet, just a man and his will to survive. That means that the overall tone is actually quite thin, and we don't want to do that, okay? You don't need to do that. If your voice is comfortable up there, relax. We don't want any tension, not here, not anywhere down, okay? We just want to make sure that we're nice and relaxed. And you can do that by just very softly massaging the sides of your neck. Don't massage the front, you can massage the back. And you can also massage the face, which is really helpful. Yeah, make sure you give a good massage. And it looks really funny. But once you've massaged everywhere, you can feel already it feels much less tense. We can be nice and relaxed. Now, because it's choppy and staccato, we can actually use our words and our breaths to give it a little bit more of a a rhythm feel to it, okay? So, you know, like drums and things play with a specific rhythm, and we can do that with our voice. We don't need to try and do it. All we need to do is make sure that we really enunciate every single word, and it'll be done for us, okay? If you take your breaths and you enunciate the start and the end in particular of every word, you'll realize that there's a bit of a there's a lot of like rhythm to it, okay? Because you're using the b and the t and the k and the s, and it sounds a little bit like a drum kit, okay? So I'll give you an example. Rising up, back on the street, did my time, took my chances. Do you hear all those little sounds that you didn't realise that were there before? Because we always concentrate on the big vowel sounds, rising up, back on the... But actually the important ones here are those end and starts of things. So if I take out the vowels, you hear all those different rhythm parts that are coming through. That's why it's really important to pronounce your words. And it also helps us with our breath. So you've got rising up, back on the street, took my time, took my chances. Yeah, so you've got all these different sounds coming through just from using your lips and your breath. Like I say, it's quite a simple song, so I'm not going to overdo it going through every part of the song. You can apply these same techniques throughout the song, especially in the verses, but also in the chorus. One note that I did have was the high C at the end of the chorus. Watching us all with the eye of the tiger. It looks, when I'm singing it, like I'm really tense and struggling, but I'm not. I'm raising my eyebrows and scrunching up my nose because it helps me get up to that top note. What I want you to do is make sure that you don't tense, you don't push it too hard. We don't want loud singing. We want good singing, we want clear singing, and we want it to really resonate. We don't want it to sound like you're shouting. Because as soon as you start shouting, this little thing that I told you about earlier gets higher, and the sound, the beautiful quality of the sound of your voice gets thinner. But we want a lovely, nice, big, round sound. So all that you need to do is take more breath, keep your shoulders down when you're breathing. See, watch my shoulders here. I'm going to take a nice deep breath. My shoulders didn't do this, did they? Forgot to breathe out. My shoulders don't go. Keep them down. Right. And breathe in. But what actually happens is my tummy goes and inflates like a balloon. Okay? So that's what we would rather do. And then when you've got all that nice big stomach full of air, almost like, you know, one of them big inflatable rubber rings, yeah? Well, once you've got that supporting you, then you don't worry about the top note. You just let it out nice and carefully, nice and gracefully, just let it flow. Watching us all with the eye. And of course, because there's so much space in this song, you can put all the passion and energy and enthusiasm into it to make it look like you're really making a meal out of it, yeah? Watching us all with the eye of the tiger. That's it from me. I'll see you on the next one.